There is a single word that can make a woman's mind race, that can ignite fascination before a single compliment, gift, or gesture is given. Most men will never discover it. They stumble through conversations, asking questions, fishing for reactions, trying to impress, and yet they fail. Why? Because they don't understand the subtle mechanics of human desire. Machiavelli did. He observed centuries of power, control, and human nature, noticing patterns in attraction that most men today ignore. This word is not about charm. It's not about flattery. It's about triggering the mind, inviting her to imagine possibilities where you are the center, the unspoken mystery, the silent excitement she cannot resist. By the end of this video, you'll know the word, the psychology behind it, and exactly how to wield it in real life, so she begins thinking of you before you even speak again. Words are not mere sounds. They are instruments of influence, vehicles through which reality bends, subtly, to the speaker's will. Every syllable carries weight, emotion, authority, and intention, whether consciously wielded or not. Most men speak blindly, drowning in questions. Do you like this? How was your day? Petty attempts to earn attention, like children trying to be noticed in a crowded room. They seek validation instead of commanding presence. Machiavelli observed centuries ago that influence is never granted. It is seized. The right word does not plead. It does not beg. It arrests attention effortlessly. It whispers into the mind, planting seeds of curiosity where desire silently begins to bloom. Desire is never born from predictability. It awakens from imagination, from intrigue, from the subtle sense that you exist on a plane just beyond reach. One carefully chosen word can shift perception in an instant, making you seem mysterious, powerful, and slightly dangerous, all at once. Consider this. A man who asks, "Do you like this?" is already weak in her mind before the conversation even begins. But the man who says, "You'll see why this matters," commands attention, not with volume or arrogance, but with presence. His words suggest a world she has not yet entered, a story she is compelled to explore. The silent power of language lies in what is unsaid as much as what is spoken. Each pause, each deliberate choice of phrase, is a brushstroke painting an image of dominance, intelligence, and magnetism. Influence is not about convincing. It is about creating intrigue, sparking curiosity, and giving her mind something to chase without her realizing she is being led. Machiavelli's truth remains: words are weapons. Used without thought, they are noise. Used with strategy, they become the quiet force that shapes desire, control, and fascination in ways most men will never comprehend. The word that most excites a woman. The word is simple, yet devastatingly powerful. Imagine. Think about it. Imagine is not a command, nor is it a word of action. It is a word of possibility, curiosity, and mental adventure. When you say, "Imagine a night where nothing is ordinary," you are not merely describing a scenario. You are opening a door in her mind. Her imagination rushes forward, filling that door with emotion, excitement, and a sense of wonder. The anchor for all of this, the spark of possibility, is you. Instantly, she begins to associate you with experiences that are rare, thrilling, and unlike anything she encounters in her ordinary life. Why does it work? Because it speaks directly to the primitive part of her brain, the part that craves uncertainty, novelty, and surprise. Imagine stimulates curiosity while activating emotional imagination, forcing her to mentally live in a world where you are at the center. It makes her question, who is this man that he dares to make me envision experiences I haven't dared to dream? In that moment, desire is no longer a choice. It begins to form naturally, silently, and powerfully. Yet most men fail. Why? Because they ruin the magic by over-explaining. The man who follows imagine with justification, clarification, or excessive detail is like a child breaking a delicate vase with clumsy hands. He destroys intrigue. Machiavelli would call this self-sabotage. The desperate man exposes himself through words, and desire can never bloom in desperation. The key is restraint. Speak the word, ignite the imagination, and then let silence do the rest. She will fill in the blanks. She will chase the vision. She will begin to crave the possibilities you subtly offer. Remember, imagine is more than a word. It is a psychological lever. Used correctly, it pulls desire, curiosity, and fascination toward you, almost against her conscious control. Misused, it becomes noise. Master it, and you are no longer just a man speaking. You are the architect of her imagination, the unseen force she cannot resist exploring. How to use imagine strategically. The power of imagine lies not only in the word itself, but in how you use it. Scarcity is key. The word should be a rare jewel, not a common coin. Sprinkle it too often, and it loses its effect. Use it deliberately, and it becomes magnetic. Each time it appears, it signals something unusual, exciting, and emotionally stirring, compelling her attention without effort. Equally important is the pause. Say the word, then remain silent. Let her mind do the work. Silence is not emptiness. It is the amplifier of intrigue. Each moment of quiet allows her imagination to fill the gaps, drawing her deeper into the scenario you have initiated. Over-explaining destroys this effect. The man who rushes to clarify is already surrendering his power. Mystery must always accompany imagine. Never hand her the full picture. A phrase like, "Imagine what happens if we leave now," is infinitely more captivating than, "Imagine us going to a movie." Mystery invites participation. Curiosity is desire's quiet twin, and the less she knows, the more she wants. Your words should tease, hint, and suggest worlds she has not yet seen, all while keeping you at the emotional center. At the same time, you must lead her imagination without dominating it. She should feel as if she is co-creating the experience, while you remain the invisible anchor. This is the subtle art of control. She experiences freedom in thought, yet her attention and excitement orbit around you. Examples bring the principle to life. In conversation saying, "Imagine being somewhere no one can find us, where time has no meaning," allows her to picture the thrill and intimacy without you spelling it out. On a date, imagine if this city suddenly disappeared for one night, and it was only you and me. Transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, linking your presence with adventure and escape. Even through texting, imagine what would happen if we ignored everything and just lived for tonight. Creates a mental world where her attention and desire gravitate toward you. Each use of imagine constructs a micro-world in her mind. She leads in imagination, but you remain the gravitational center. Desire is never forced. It grows organically around the possibilities you unveil. Master this, and you are no longer simply speaking. You are shaping experiences within her mind, experiences she cannot resist bringing into reality. Real-life application of imagine turns theory into irresistible attraction. Take a cafe encounter, for example. A man sits across from a woman he barely knows. Instead of asking the mundane, "Do you come here often?" he leans in slightly and says, "Imagine if we were the only two people in this cafe, and the rest of the world didn't exist for a moment." Her laughter is spontaneous, but more importantly, her mind begins to fill in the scene. She is emotionally present, curious, and invested in a world he has quietly planted in her imagination. He didn't seek approval, he commanded attention, letting her curiosity and desire take root without a single question. The power extends to digital communication as well. A man texts, "Imagine a place where no one else can reach us tonight." Immediately, she is drawn in. Her mind races to interpret possibilities, to uncover the mystery he hints at. He has promised nothing tangible, yet he has captured her attention effortlessly. The scenario is not about him forcing her interest. It is about him giving her mind the space to chase it herself, with him always at the center. Even during a dinner date, the technique transforms ordinary interaction into subtle psychological dominance. Instead of discussing work or shared complaints about daily life, he says, "Imagine if tonight we created a memory we'd never forget, one story we'd tell others, and no one would believe." Her emotional brain ignites first, responding to the adventure and intimacy of the moment, while her rational mind scrambles to catch up. She is now invested in a scenario where he occupies the focal point, where he is the unspoken architect of excitement and possibility. These micro-stories illustrate the subtle genius of imagine. It does not force desire, it cultivates it, planting scenarios in her mind where you are always central, always compelling, and always slightly beyond reach. Even the most compelling word, like imagine, can fail in the hands of the unskilled. One of the most frequent errors is over-explanation. A man says, "Imagine," sparks curiosity, and then immediately feels the need to clarify, justify, or describe every detail. This destroys intrigue. Desire is never born from certainty. It thrives in the tension between what is known and what is imagined. Another mistake is overuse. Sprinkle imagine too liberally throughout conversation, and it becomes ordinary, a word stripped of its subtle power. Rarity amplifies impact. Scarcity transforms a single word into an irresistible lever of curiosity. Yet perhaps the gravest mistake is neglecting presence. Words alone are insufficient. Machiavelli understood that influence is multi-layered. It requires the seamless combination of language, confidence, and subtle dominance. A man may speak beautifully, yet if he lacks presence, if his body language, tone, or energy betray insecurity, his words fall flat. To truly command intrigue and desire, imagine must be paired with a palpable aura of confidence, a quiet authority that communicates without effort that you are a man whose world is not merely spoken about, it is felt. Machiavelli's genius was his unflinching understanding that power, attraction, and influence are all rooted in perception. Words are not idle sounds. They are tools to shape reality in another person's mind. The word imagine is far more than a simple word. It is a lever, a psychological switch that shifts her mental world so that you occupy the center of her thoughts, even in your silence. Most men chase reactions, ask endless questions, or desperately try to impress, only to fail. You, however, now wield a weapon far more potent, the ability to ignite desire within her mind before her body even registers a response. This is not about luck, charm, or approval. It is about mastery of language, psychology, and presence. It is how you bend desire, create fascination, and make a woman think of you even when you are not physically there. Tomorrow, in every interaction, do not ask, do not chase. Instead, plant a single imagine and observe the effect. Pause. Let her imagination do the work. Watch the subtle changes, The glint in her eyes, the slight shift in posture, the spark of curiosity that lingers after the word hangs in the air. Desire is never forced. It is grown, nurtured in the fertile soil of uncertainty and intrigue. You now hold the seed. Use it with precision, and you will notice a change in the energy of every woman you interact with. Most men will continue their predictable cycle of talking, asking, and chasing. You, however, now possess the advantage. The quiet, undeniable ability to plant worlds in her mind where desire grows naturally, silently, and irresistibly.